The sound comes through her earbuds at a volume she didn't set. Elena doesn't remove them. She stands in the hallway outside her bedroom, one hand on the doorframe, listening to a conversation that wasn't meant to leave the room where it was recorded. The voices are calm, practical. Someone is asking about timelines. Someone else is answering with dates she recognizes. Her husband's voice carries the same efficiency he uses when scheduling service appointments or confirming flight times. No emotion, just logistics. When the recording cuts off mid-sentence, Elena pulls out the earbuds and sets her phone face down on the console table. Her hands aren't shaking. Her breathing hasn't changed. She finishes buttoning her shirt and locates the missing sock wedged under the hamper. The recording arrived as a mistaken forward in a group thread. An accident or carelessness. She isn't sure which. She drives to work, parks in her usual spot, responds to emails about a delayed shipment and a client complaint. Around 11, someone asks if she's feeling all right. She says she's fine and realizes she hasn't checked her expression in hours. That evening, Mark comes home and sets his bag down in the entryway the way he always does. They eat dinner at the kitchen counter. He mentions the trip he's taking next week, the same one referenced in the recording. Elena asks where he's staying. He tells her without hesitation. She nods, refills his water glass, asks about the conference schedule. Later, while he showers, she stands in the bedroom and studies objects that have always been there. His charging cable coiled on the nightstand. The book he hasn't finished in 6 months. A framed photo from a vacation neither of them brings up anymore. She doesn't touch anything. She just looks. When he falls asleep, she lies awake listening to the rhythm of his breathing. It's steady, unchanged. She wonders if he's always breathed that way or if she stopped noticing years ago. The recording sits in her phone, undeleted. She doesn't replay it. She doesn't need to. The words have already reorganized into something she can't unfeel. By morning, nothing is different. Mark kisses her forehead before leaving. She makes coffee. She checks the weather. But somewhere beneath the surface of routine, a shift has occurred. Not dramatic, not visible, just the quiet awareness that she's been living in one story while another was unfolding parallel to it. And now she knows. Elena opens the laptop at her desk and stares at the login screen longer than necessary. Her fingers hover over the keyboard. She types the password incorrectly twice before getting it right. The inbox loads. 43 unread messages. She clicks on the first one and reads the same sentence 3 times without absorbing it. Across the office, her colleague Rachel is talking about a restaurant she tried over the weekend. Someone else is asking about the reservation system. Elena knows she should be listening. She nods when there's a pause in conversation. You going to Linda's thing on Friday? Rachel asks. Elena looks up. What? Linda's retirement thing. The email went out yesterday. I'll check my calendar. Rachel tilts her head slightly, the way people do when they're deciding whether to ask a follow-up question. Elena opens a spreadsheet before she can. The morning passes in fragments. A meeting she attends without speaking. A phone call she takes standing by the window, agreeing to terms she'll need to review later. Lunch at her desk, though she can't remember acquiring the sandwich or unwrapping it. At 2:15, her phone vibrates. A text from Mark. Running late tonight. Don't wait for dinner. She reads it twice. Types OK and deletes it. Types no problem and sends it before she can reconsider. The cursor blinks in an empty email draft. She closes it. By the time she leaves the office, the sky has turned that specific shade of gray that makes distances harder to judge. She sits in her car in the parking garage and watches a couple arguing near the elevator. They're too far away to hear, but their gestures are clear. The woman keeps pointing at something. The man keeps shaking his head. Elena starts the car. At home, she moves through rooms that feel slightly off-center, like furniture rearranged by someone with approximate memory. She hangs her coat, sets her bag on the chair, pours a glass of water and drinks half before realizing it's cold enough to hurt her teeth. The living room is exactly as she left it this morning. Pillows arranged the way Mark prefers. Remote on his side of the coffee table. A book she started weeks ago still holding her place on page 62. She picks it up, reads 3 pages, realizes she hasn't processed any of it, and sets it down. The recording is still in her phone. She hasn't listened to it again, but she's opened the thread twice just to confirm it's real. The timestamp says it was sent at 11:47 p.m. 2 nights ago. She tries to remember where Mark was at 11:47 p.m. In bed beside her, probably. Or in the bathroom. Or getting water. She deletes the thought before it forms completely. In the kitchen, she opens the refrigerator and studies its contents with the focus of someone translating a foreign language. Leftover pasta. Yogurt. A bag of carrots she bought with unclear intent. She closes the door without taking anything. Her phone buzzes. Mark again. Closer to 9. Sorry. She doesn't reply. At 7:30, she runs a bath. The water is too hot, but she gets in anyway and sits until her skin adjusts. Steam clouds the mirror. She watches condensation gather and drip in uneven patterns. When she drains the tub, the silence feels aggressive. She dries off, dresses in clothes she doesn't register choosing, and walks through the apartment one more time. In Mark's office, she stops. The desk is neat. Papers stacked in a wire tray. Pens lined up parallel to the edge. His laptop closed. She doesn't touch anything. The closet in the hallway holds their winter coats, boxes of holiday decorations they haven't used in 2 years, a vacuum cleaner that needs a new filter. Everything exactly where it should be. Elena closes the closet door. At 8:40, she hears Mark's key in the lock. She's sitting on the couch, television on but muted, her phone in her lap displaying an article she isn't reading. Hey, he says, dropping his bag by the door. Hey. He moves into the kitchen. She hears the refrigerator open. A cabinet. The microwave beeping. How was your day, he calls. Fine. Yours. Long. He appears in the doorway holding a plate. That client I told you about keeps changing requirements. Elena nods. Which client? He pauses. I mentioned it last week. The software thing. Right. He sits in the chair across from her, not beside her. Eats while scrolling his phone. The microwave timer is still running in the kitchen, beeping at 30-second intervals. Timer, Elena says. What? The microwave. Mark gets up. The beeping stops. When he returns, he doesn't sit. You okay? Yeah. What? You seem. He gestures vaguely. I don't know. Quiet. I'm tired. Right. He nods. Me too. He takes his plate to the sink. Water runs. The dishwasher opens and closes. Elena watches his reflection move across the dark window. Her phone vibrates. An email. She opens it without thinking and finds a message from an address she doesn't recognize. The subject line reads shared documents, access updated. She opens it. The email is automated. Generic. It lists a series of folders she has new access to, time-stamped 40 minutes ago. Most of the names mean nothing. Standard file sharing language. But one folder name stops her. fin_planning_2026_draft_personal. She reads it again. Mark is saying something from the kitchen about needing to leave early tomorrow. Elena looks up, but his words are arriving at a delay, like subtitles out of sync. So I probably won't see you before you. What, she says. He appears in the doorway. I said I'm leaving at 6. Early flight. Right. You sure you're okay? Elena stands. Her phone is still in her hand, screen glowing. I'm going to bed. It's not even 9. I'm tired. She walks past him, down the hall, into the bedroom. The door doesn't close all the way behind her, but she doesn't pull it shut. She sits on the edge of the bed and opens the email again. Clicks the folder link. The page loads. The folder contains 18 files. Elena recognizes some of the names immediately. Account statements. Property documents. Tax records from 3 years ago. Others are labeled with abbreviations she doesn't understand or dates that don't align with anything she remembers happening. She clicks on the first document. It opens to a page of dense legal text, headers in bold, sections numbered. Her name appears in the 3rd paragraph, spelled correctly this time. She closes it. From the living room, she hears the television turn on. Mark's footsteps move from kitchen to couch. The sound of him settling in, familiar and unchanged. Elena sets the phone on the nightstand and lies down fully clothed. She stares at the ceiling, counts the cracks in the plaster she's never noticed before. Or maybe they've always been there. She doesn't sleep. Morning arrives with Mark's alarm at 5:30. He silences it quickly, moves through the room gathering clothes. Elena keeps her eyes closed, listens to the shower run, the closet door slide open and shut, his phone vibrating against the dresser. You awake? He whispers. She doesn't answer. The bedroom door clicks shut. Minutes later, the front door does the same. Elena opens her eyes. The apartment is silent in a way that feels staged. She gets up, makes coffee, drinks it standing by the kitchen window. Outside, a delivery truck idles at a loading dock. Two workers are arguing about something, gesturing at a clipboard. Her phone sits on the counter. She picks it up, puts it down, picks it up again. The folder is still there. She opens a different file this time. A spreadsheet, columns of numbers, dates, projections. Some entries are highlighted in yellow. Others have notes in the margin, marked shorthand she learned to read years ago when they used to share budgets. The notes stop abruptly halfway down. The last one reads, "Confirm split methodology before Q2. Elena closes the spreadsheet. At work, she arrives early and leaves her office door half closed. Rachel knocks anyway at 9:15. "Morning. You get Linda's revised guest list." "Not yet." She added, "Like 12 people. I don't even know who half of them are." Rachel leans against the doorframe. "You coming to the thing tomorrow? For drinks after?" "Maybe. You've said maybe 3 times now." Elena looks up. "Then maybe I mean maybe." Rachel's expression shifts, not offended, just recalibrating. "Okay, let me know." The door closes completely this time. Elena returns to an email she's been drafting for 20 minutes. The subject line is blank. The body contains one sentence that doesn't say what she needs it to say. She deletes it and starts again. By noon, she's responded to everything that required a response and created 6 new problems by trying to clarify things that didn't need clarification. She closes her laptop and walks to the break room. Inside, 2 interns are microwaving lunch and discussing a show Elena has never heard of. They glance at her when she enters, but don't pause their conversation. She pours coffee she doesn't want and stands by the window, watching traffic move in patterns that seem both random and predetermined. Her phone buzzes. "Mark, landed. Meetings until 6. Call you tonight?" She types "sure" and deletes it. Types "okay" and sends it. The coffee tastes burnt. She pours it out and returns to her desk. That evening, Elena drives home through streets that look unfamiliar despite being the same route she's taken for 9 years. She stops at a red light that turns green before she notices. The car behind her honks once, brief and factual. At home, she opens the door and stands in the entryway listening. The refrigerator hums. A siren passes several blocks away. Upstairs, someone is moving furniture. She sets her bag down and walks through the apartment room by room. The living room. The kitchen. Mark's office. Nothing is out of place. Nothing has changed. In the bedroom, she opens the closet and studies Mark's side. Shirts arranged by color. Shoes lined up heel to toe. A gym bag he hasn't used in months. She runs her hand along the sleeve of a jacket she doesn't remember him wearing. The fabric is smooth, expensive, recently dry cleaned. She closes the closet. Her phone rings. Mark's name on the screen. She answers. "Hi. Hey. You home?" "Yeah." "How was work?" "Fine." "Yours?" "Same client stuff. They want to add a whole new module." He sounds tired. Or distracted. She can't tell which. "I might need to extend the trip." "By how long?" "Maybe 2 days. I'll know tomorrow." Elena sits on the edge of the bed. "Okay. You sound weird." "I'm fine." "Are you sure?" "Because." "I'm fine, Mark." A pause. Background noise on his end. Voices. A door closing. "I should go," he says. Calls starting. "Okay. Love you." The line goes dead before she can respond. Elena sets the phone down and looks at her hands. They're steady. She's not sure why she expected them to be otherwise. The next day passes identically to the one before. Same drive. Same parking spot. Same colleagues asking the same questions she answers with the same non-answers. At lunch, she sits in her car and opens the folder again. A new file has appeared since yesterday. The timestamp shows it was added at 11:42 p.m. while Mark was in a different city. She clicks it. The document is a draft. Incomplete sections marked with brackets. Her name appears 6 times. Mark's appears 9. There are references to things she doesn't recognize. Account numbers, policy details, legal terms that feel designed to obscure rather than clarify. One phrase repeats in 3 different sections, pending finalization of asset review. Elena reads it until the words stop meaning anything. A text arrives from Rachel. "Linda's at 5. You in?" Elena types "can't make it" and sends it before reconsidering. At 4:30, she leaves the office without explanation and drives in the opposite direction of home. She ends up in a parking lot outside a grocery store she's never been to. Sits with the engine off, watching people emerge with carts and bags, loading cars, returning carts or not returning them. Her phone rings. Mark again. She lets it go to voicemail. 2 minutes later, a text. Everything okay? She types yes and erases it. Types fine, just busy, and sends it. The response comes immediately. Okay. Call when you can. Elena sets the phone in the cup holder and gets out of the car. Inside the store, fluorescent lights hum overhead. She picks up a basket and walks through aisles without intention. Pasta. Canned goods. Produce that all looks identical. She stops in front of the bread section. 6 different brands. 8 types. She reaches for one and then changes her mind. Reaches for another and puts it back. A woman beside her is squeezing loaves methodically, testing freshness. She catches Elena watching and smiles apologetically. Elena leaves the basket on an empty shelf and walks out. That night, Mark calls again at 9. Elena is lying on the couch in the dark, television off, staring at nothing. Hey, he says when she answers. You didn't call back. I forgot. You okay? You already asked me that. Because you sound, I don't know. Different. Elena sits up. Different how? Just quiet. Distant. I don't know. I'm tired, Mark. Is something going on? She stands. Walks to the window. Outside, the street is empty except for one parked car with its hazards on. No, she says. Nothing's going on. Because if something's wrong, nothing's wrong. Silence. She can hear him breathing. Deciding something. I'm extending through Friday, he says finally. Okay. You sure you're good with that? Why wouldn't I be? I don't know. You just seem. I don't know. Forget it. More silence. I should let you sleep, he says. Yeah. Okay. I'll call you tomorrow. Okay. The call ends. Elena stands at the window for a long time. The car with the hazards on eventually drives away. She watches its taillights disappear around the corner. When she finally moves, she doesn't go to bed. She goes to Mark's office and stands in the doorway. The desk. The filing cabinet. The bookshelf holding manuals for software he no longer uses. She doesn't turn on the light. She doesn't go inside. She just stands there, breathing in the stillness, aware that something has shifted but unable to name what it is or when exactly it happened. Eventually, she closes the door and walks away. Elena wakes up at 3:14 in the morning with the distinct sensation of having forgotten something urgent. She lies still, running through mental checklists. Work deadlines. Bills. Appointments. Nothing surfaces. The apartment is too quiet. She gets up and walks to the kitchen. Drinks water from the tap. Stares at the microwave clock until the numbers change. At her laptop on the dining table, she opens the shared cloud account. The folder is still there. She clicks through files she's already seen, then ones she hasn't. A document titled timeline_draft loads slowly. The content is sparse. A list of dates, some past, some future. Next to each date is a single word or phrase. Consult. Review. Notify. Finalize. One date is 3 weeks away. The word beside it is execute. Elena closes the laptop. She doesn't go back to bed. Saturday morning arrives with rain that started sometime during the night. Elena watches it from the kitchen window while coffee brews. The street below is empty except for one person walking a dog that keeps stopping to shake water from its fur. Her phone has 2 messages from Mark. One from last night, she didn't see. Dinner ran late. Talk tomorrow? One from an hour ago, morning. Free to talk? She doesn't respond to either. Instead, she opens her laptop again and navigates to their joint bank account. The login requires 2-factor authentication. She enters the code from her phone and waits. The account loads. She scrolls through recent transactions. Grocery stores. Gas stations. The usual subscriptions. Nothing unusual until she reaches a charge from 4 days ago. A payment to a firm whose name she doesn't recognize. The amount is substantial but not alarming. Just notable. She copies the firm's name into a search engine. The website that loads is minimal. Corporate. A law office specializing in family law, estate planning, and asset management. The About page lists 3 partners. The Services page uses language that sounds reassuring and vague at the same time. Elena closes the browser. She opens it again and searches Mark's name alongside the firm's name. Nothing appears. She tries adding divorce to the search. Then separation. Then consultation. Still nothing. She deletes her search history. By noon, the rain has stopped, but the sky remains gray. Elena drives to a coffee shop she's never been to, parks in the back, and sits in a corner booth with her laptop. She opens her personal email and searches for anything from the law firm. Nothing. She checks spam. Also nothing. Then she opens Mark's email. She knows his password. Has known it for years. They shared accounts when they set up the cloud storage, back when that seemed practical rather than invasive. She's never used it before. Not once. The inbox loads. 234 unread messages. Most are newsletters, promotional emails, automated notifications. She scrolls past them, scanning subject lines. Nothing obvious appears until she sorts by sender and sees a name she recognizes from the law firm's website. 3 emails, all from the past 2 weeks. She opens the first one. Mark, confirming our meeting on the 15th at 2 p.m. Please bring the documents we discussed. Best, Jonathan. The second email is similar. A confirmation. A request for additional information. A reminder about deadlines. The third email is longer. Mark, based on our conversation, I've drafted the preliminary framework we discussed. Please review the attached at your earliest convenience. A few items still need clarification on your end, specifically regarding the timeline you prefer and how you'd like to handle notification. Let me know if you want to discuss this week or if it can wait until you're back. Best, Jonathan. There's an attachment. Elena clicks it. The file won't open. It requires password authentication. She closes the email and sits back. Around her, the coffee shop is moderately full. A couple at the next table is arguing quietly about whose turn it is to handle something. A teenager near the window is on a video call, laughing too loudly. The barista is wiping down the counter with methodical strokes. Elena's hands are folded on the table in front of her. She watches them like they belong to someone else. That afternoon, she drives to her sister's house without calling first. Amy answers the door in paint-stained clothes, holding a brush. I'm redoing the bathroom, she says. It's a disaster. You want to see? Not really. Amy studies her. You okay? Can I come in? Obviously. Inside, the house smells like paint and something baking. Amy leads her to the kitchen and pours 2 glasses of water without asking. So what's wrong? Amy says. Elena sits at the table. Nothing's wrong. You never just show up. I was in the area. You live 20 minutes away. You're never in this area. Elena drinks half the water, sets the glass down, picks it up again. Amy waits. If you thought something was happening, Elena says slowly, but you weren't sure. Would you ask about it? Or would you wait until you knew for certain? Depends. What kind of something? Just something. Amy leans against the counter. This is about Mark. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. Amy crosses her arms. What did you find? Elena hesitates. I don't know if I found anything. That's the problem. But you think you did. I think something's happening. I just can't tell what it is yet. Did you ask him? No. Why not? Elena looks at her hands again. Because if I'm wrong, then I've made it into something it isn't. And if I'm right, she doesn't finish. Amy sits down across from her. What do you need? I don't know. Do you want to stay here tonight? No. I just needed to be somewhere that wasn't home. They sit in silence. From upstairs, Amy's husband calls down asking about paintbrushes. Amy yells back that they're in the garage. You could ask Mom, Amy says eventually. No. She'd know what to. I'm not asking Mom. Amy nods. Okay. Elena finishes the water. Stands. I should go. You just got here. I know. At the door, Amy hugs her longer than usual. Call me if you need anything. I mean it. Elena promises she will. She doesn't. Sunday passes slowly. Elena cleans the apartment even though it doesn't need cleaning. She organizes cabinets. She wipes down surfaces that are already clean. She rearranges books on the shelf by height and then puts them back the way they were. Mark calls at 2. She lets it ring. He calls again at 4. This time she answers. Hey, he says. I've been trying to reach you. I was busy. All weekend. Yes. Pause. Is everything okay? You keep asking me that. Because you keep acting weird. Elena walks to the window. I'm not acting weird. You're not answering my calls. You're barely responding to texts. Something's going on. Maybe I just don't feel like talking. Since when? Since now, apparently. Mark exhales slowly. Did I do something? The question hangs there. Elena watches a bird land on the railing across the street, hop twice, and fly away. No, she says finally. Then what is this? I don't know what you mean. Elena, I have to go. Wait. She ends the call. The phone rings again immediately. She declines it. It rings a third time. She turns it off completely and sets it face down on the counter. That night, she opens the laptop one more time, goes to the shared cloud folder, clicks on a document she hasn't opened yet, labeled notes_personal info. The file loads. It's a text document. No formatting. Just paragraphs of notes written in Mark's style, fragmented, shorthand, half-thoughts recorded quickly. Most of it doesn't make sense without context. References to conversations she wasn't part of. Names of people she doesn't know. Abbreviations she can't decode. But near the bottom, one section is clearer. Timeline concern. Needs at least 6 weeks notice per J. Would prefer 8 to avoid complications. He doesn't suspect anything yet, but has seemed distracted lately. Could be work stress. Need to confirm if proceeding before end of Q1 or if waiting until Q2 makes more sense. J says either works legally, but Q1 cleaner from tax perspective. Need to decide apartment. Keep or sell. E's name on deed complicates options. J reviewing. Elena reads it 3 times. Then she closes the laptop, gets into bed fully dressed, and stares at the ceiling until the numbers on the clock stop meaning anything. Monday morning, Elena arrives at work 30 minutes early. She closes her office door and opens a blank document on her computer. At the top, she types a date. Then she begins listing things. Account access. Passwords. Automatic payments linked to which cards. Subscriptions under whose name. The deed to the apartment. The car title. Insurance policies. Her retirement account. The joint savings they stopped contributing to 2 years ago. She works through the list methodically, noting what she has access to and what she doesn't. What's in her name only? What's shared? What exists that she might have forgotten about? When she finishes, the list fills 2 pages. She saves the document to a personal folder Mark has never accessed, then closes it without rereading. Rachel knocks at 8:30. Meeting in 10. I'll be there. The meeting lasts an hour. Elena takes notes she won't remember. Agrees to action items she'll need to review later. Nods when someone asks if she can take on an additional project. Afterward, she returns to her office and searches for the business card she received 3 years ago at a conference. It takes 15 minutes to locate it in a drawer beneath expired coupons and takeout menus. The card belongs to an attorney. Not family law. Corporate. But she remembers the woman mentioning a sister who practiced family law in the city. Elena stares at the card for a full minute before picking up her phone. The call goes to voicemail. She hangs up without leaving a message. 2 minutes later, she calls back. This is Sandra. Hi. This is Elena Morrison. We met at the business law conference in 2023. You probably don't. I remember. You asked about contract negotiation strategies. Right? Yes. Elena pauses. You mentioned once that your sister practices family law. Silence on the other end. Then, I did. Is she taking new clients? She is. Do you need her contact information? Yes. Sandra doesn't ask why. She provides a name, a number, and an email address. Elena writes them down on the back of the business card. Thank you, Elena says. Of course. And Elena, yes. Whatever you're dealing with, take your time. But don't wait too long. The call ends. Elena sits with the card in her hand. Then she opens her personal email and composes a message. Miss Chun, I was referred to you by Sandra Wilcox. I'd like to schedule a consultation to discuss options related to marital assets and legal rights. Please let me know your availability. Best, Elena Morrison. She reads it twice, deletes options related to marital assets, and replaces it with a personal matter. Sends it before she can reconsider. That afternoon, Mark texts, flying back tomorrow. Home by 7. Elena types okay and leaves it at that. 20 minutes later, another message, still mad at me? She doesn't respond. At lunch, she drives to the bank. The same branch where they opened their joint account 9 years ago. She waits in line behind a man depositing a check and a woman arguing about a fee. When it's her turn, she asks to speak with someone about account options. The representative is younger than Elena expected. She leads her to a desk in the corner and asks how she can help. I want to open a separate checking account, Elena says. No problem. Will this be individual or joint? Individual. The representative nods and begins typing. And will you be transferring funds from an existing account? Yes. How much? Elena hesitates. Half of what's in the joint account. The typing pauses. The representative looks up. Is the joint account here with us? Yes. Okay. I'll need to verify a few things. Can you give me the account number? Elena provides it. The representative pulls up the account on her screen, studies it. This account requires both parties to authorize withdrawals over $5,000, she says carefully. I'm aware. The balance is currently just over $32,000. If you want to transfer half, that would exceed the limit. Elena nods. What if I transfer $4,000 now? That wouldn't require secondary authorization. Then I'd like to do that. The representative processes the transfer without further questions. She prints out forms. Elena signs them. Receives a temporary debit card. The permanent card will arrive in 7 to 10 business days, the representative says. Elena thanks her and leaves. At home that evening, she goes through the apartment room by room with her phone, photographing everything. The furniture, the artwork on the walls, the dishes in the cabinets, Mark's office, his closet, the contents of drawers. She doesn't organize the photos. She just takes them and lets them accumulate in her camera roll. When she finishes, she has over 200 images. She backs them up to a cloud account Mark doesn't have access to. Then she opens the laptop and creates a new folder. Labels it Documentation. Inside, she begins uploading files. Bank statements from the past 3 years. Tax returns. The deed to the apartment. Insurance policies. Receipts for major purchases. It takes 90 minutes to gather everything. When she's done, the folder contains 47 files. She saves it, locks it with a password, backs it up to 2 separate locations. Her phone buzzes. An email from Ms. Chun. Ms. Morrison, I have availability this Thursday at 10 a.m. or Friday at 2 p.m. Please let me know which works best. I should mention that initial consultations are confidential and there's no obligation to proceed beyond the first meeting. Looking forward to speaking with you. Best, Jessica Chun. Elena responds immediately. Thursday at 10 works. Thank you. That night, she changes 3 passwords. Her personal email, the cloud storage account, her retirement fund login. She uses combinations Mark won't guess. Writes them down in a notebook she keeps in her desk at work. At 9:30, she receives a call from a number she doesn't recognize. She answers cautiously. Elena? It's Amy. Why are you calling from a different number? Mine died. I'm using Dave's phone. Pause. You okay? You haven't called. I'm fine. You don't sound fine. Elena sits on the edge of the bed. I'm handling it. Handling what? Whatever this is. That's not an answer. I know. Amy sighs. You're scaring me a little. Don't be scared. I'm just taking care of things. What things? I can't explain right now. Can't or won't. Elena doesn't answer. Okay. Amy says finally. But I'm here. You know that, right? I know. After the call ends, Elena lies back on the bed and stares at the ceiling. The apartment is silent except for the hum of the refrigerator and occasional footsteps from upstairs. She thinks about the list she made this morning. The accounts. The passwords. The photographs. The consultation scheduled for Thursday. She thinks about Mark coming home tomorrow. She thinks about the document she found. The timeline. The notes about her not suspecting anything yet. Her phone buzzes. Mark again. Can we talk when I get home? I feel like something's off. Elena reads it 3 times. Types, sure. Deletes it. Types, we can talk. Sends it. She sets the phone aside and closes her eyes, but sleep doesn't come. Instead, she runs through the list again mentally. What she's done. What she still needs to do. What pieces are still missing. Somewhere around midnight, she gets up and goes to Mark's office. Opens the filing cabinet. Pulls out folders containing documents she hasn't looked at in years. Property records. Investment statements. Old tax returns. She doesn't take anything. She just photographs each page, one by one, the camera's shutter sound punctuating the silence. When she's done, she returns everything exactly as it was. Closes the drawer. Turns off the light. Walks back to the bedroom and finally, eventually, falls into something resembling sleep. Tuesday evening, Mark arrives home at 7:15. Elena hears his key in the lock while she's standing at the kitchen sink, hands submerged in water that's gone cold. Hey, he calls from the entryway. She dries her hands. Hey. He appears in the doorway with his bag still on his shoulder. He looks tired. Or maybe just different. She's not sure anymore. I missed you, he says. Elena nods. Mark sets the bag down. Can we talk? You said that already. In your text. I know. He stops. Starts again. Something's been off. For like a week now. Maybe longer. I can't figure out what it is, but I know it's there. Elena leans against the counter. Okay. That's it. Okay. What do you want me to say? I want you to tell me what's wrong. She meets his eyes. I don't know what you mean. Mark runs a hand through his hair. You're barely talking to me. You're not answering calls. You seem, I don't know, distant. Maybe you're imagining it. I'm not imagining it. Elena turns back to the sink, drains the water, wipes down the counter with slow, deliberate strokes. Is this about work? Mark asks. Did something happen? No. Then what? She doesn't answer. Mark steps closer. Elena, look at me. She does. His expression is caught between concern and frustration. She wonders how long he's been practicing it. Are you unhappy? He asks quietly. The question lands oddly. Too broad. Too vague. With what? She says. With us. With this. With, he gestures around the kitchen. Everything. Elena sets the cloth down. Are you, what? Unhappy. With us. Mark blinks. No. I'm asking about you. Why? Because you're acting like you're somewhere else. Like you've already left. The words hang between them. Elena feels something shift in her chest. Not anger. Not even hurt. Just clarity. Maybe I have, she says. Mark stares at her. What does that mean? I don't know yet. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have right now. He takes a step back. Are you serious? Elena doesn't respond. Jesus, Mark says. He turns away. Turns back. Where is this coming from? Does it matter? Of course it matters. He stops. Is there someone else? No. Then what? What changed? Elena looks at him for a long moment. Considers telling him about the recording. The folder. The emails. The notes. Decides against it. Nothing changed, she says. I just started paying attention. Mark opens his mouth. Closes it. Opens it again. I don't understand. I know. He stares at her like she's a stranger. Maybe she is. I need some air, he says finally. He grabs his jacket and leaves. The door closes harder than necessary, but not quite a slam. Elena stands in the kitchen listening to the silence. Then she picks up her phone and opens her calendar. Thursday, 10 a.m. Jessica Chun. She confirms the appointment. Thursday arrives gray and cold. Elena wakes at 6, showers, dresses in clothes that feel like armor. Mark is still asleep. Or pretending to be. She doesn't check. She leaves without breakfast. The law office is on the 14th floor of a building downtown. Elena signs in at the lobby, takes the elevator up, and enters a reception area that smells like coffee and leather. A woman at the desk looks up. Elena Morrison? Yes. Ms. Chin will be with you in just a moment. Can I get you water? Coffee. Water's fine. Elena sits in a chair by the window and watches traffic below. Cars merging. Pedestrians crossing against lights. A delivery truck blocking an intersection. Ms. Morrison? Elena turns. A woman in her early 40s stands in the doorway. Dark hair pulled back. Glasses. A firm handshake. I'm Jessica Chun. Please, come in. The office is smaller than Elena expected. Neat. Organized. A desk with 2 chairs across from it. Bookshelves lining one wall. Jessica gestures to a chair. Elena sits. Thank you for coming in, Jessica says. Before we begin, I want to clarify that everything we discuss today is confidential. You're under no obligation to retain me or proceed with any action. This is simply an opportunity to understand your options. Does that make sense? Yes. Good. So tell me, what brings you here? Elena opens her mouth, closes it, starts again. I think my husband is planning to file for divorce, she says. I don't think he knows that I know. Jessica nods, her expression unchanged. What led you to that conclusion? Elena explains. The recording, the folder, the emails, the notes. She speaks clearly, factually, without embellishment. Jessica takes notes, asks clarifying questions. Timelines, asset details, joint accounts, property ownership. When Elena finishes, Jessica sets her pen down. Okay, she says. First, I want to acknowledge that this is an extremely difficult situation. Second, I want to be clear about something. If your husband is planning to file, he has a legal right to do that. What matters now is making sure you're protected and informed. Okay. Have you spoken to him about this? No. Do you plan to? Elena considers. I don't know. Jessica nods. That's fine. You don't have to decide right now. But here's what I can tell you. If you want to protect yourself, there are steps we can take. Some are simple, documenting assets, securing access to accounts, gathering financial records. Others are more significant. Like what? Filing first. The words settle into the room. If you file, Jessica continues, you control the initial narrative. You set the terms of engagement. It doesn't guarantee a better outcome, but it does shift the dynamic. Elena's hands are folded in her lap. She notices they're completely still. What would that involve, she asks. Jessica outlines the process. Paperwork, court filings, mandatory waiting periods, disclosure requirements. The timeline varies, but typically takes months, sometimes longer. Once you file, Jessica says, it becomes public record. Your husband will be served with papers. There's no taking it back. And if I don't file? If I wait? Then you're reacting instead of acting. You lose the element of preparation. And depending on what your husband has already set in motion, you could be at a disadvantage. Elena looks out the window. A plane passes overhead, too high to hear. I need to think about it, she says. Of course. Take whatever time you need. But I will say this, if you're going to move forward, sooner is better than later. Especially if he's already consulting an attorney. How much time do I have? Jessica tilts her head. That depends on what he's planning. Based on what you've described, it sounds like he's preparing but hasn't filed yet. That gives you a window. But windows close. Elena nods. If you decide to proceed, Jessica says, I'll need you to complete an intake form and provide documentation. Financial records, property deeds, tax returns, anything that establishes your marital assets. We'll also need a retainer. How much? Jessica names a figure. It's substantial, but not impossible. I can do that, Elena says. You don't have to decide today. I know. They sit in silence. Jessica doesn't fill it. Finally, Elena stands. Thank you for your time. Jessica walks her to the door. One more thing. If you do decide to file, you need to be prepared for his reaction. It won't be easy. People don't respond well to being surprised. I understand. Do you? Elena meets her eyes. Yes. She doesn't go back to work. She drives instead. No destination. Just movement. Highway exits that lead to unfamiliar neighborhoods. Strip malls. Industrial parks. Residential streets where every house looks identical. Eventually, she stops at a park. Sits on a bench near a playground. Watches children climb structures and parents scroll phones. Her own phone buzzes. Mark, where are you? Your office said you called in sick. She types, running errands. His response is immediate. Can we talk tonight? Elena stares at the message. Thinks about the papers Jessica described. The filing. The service. The irreversibility of it all. Types, sure. Deletes it. Types, I don't know. Deletes that too. Types, maybe. Sends it. She sits on the bench for another hour. The sun breaks through clouds briefly, then disappears again. The children leave one by one. The parents gather bags and coats. Elena's phone buzzes again. Not Mark this time. An email from Jessica Chun. Elena, attached is the intake form I mentioned. No pressure to complete it now. Just have it available if you decide to move forward. Take care of yourself. Best, Jessica. Elena opens the attachment. 20 pages. Questions about everything. Assets, debts, income, property, children. They don't have any. She marks, not applicable. Requests for documentation. At the bottom, a signature line. She closes the email without downloading the form. Then she opens it again and downloads it. Saves it to the locked folder on her cloud account. That evening, Mark is home when she arrives. He's at the kitchen table with his laptop open. He looks up when she enters. Hey, he says carefully. Hey, you okay? You said you were running errands. I was. For 7 hours? Elena sets her bag down. I had a lot to do. Mark closes the laptop. We need to talk. You keep saying that. Because we do. Something is seriously wrong, Elena. I don't know what it is, but I know it's there. And you won't tell me what it is. She walks to the sink. Fills a glass with water. Drinks half of it. What do you want me to say? She asks. The truth. Whatever it is. Just tell me. Elena sets the glass down. Turns to face him. I saw the emails, she says. Mark's expression freezes. What emails? The ones from Jonathan. From the law firm. The silence that follows is absolute. Mark stands slowly. You went through my email. Yes. He stops. Starts again. That's a massive violation of privacy. Is it worse than planning a divorce without telling me? His face drains of color. I was going to tell you. When the time was right. And when was that going to be? Mark runs both hands through his hair. Jesus, this isn't how I wanted this to happen. How did you want it to happen? Not like this. Elena laughs. It sounds wrong. So you were planning to blindside me, and you're upset that I found out first? That's not. I wasn't trying to blindside you. Then what were you doing? Mark sits back down, puts his head in his hands. I don't know. Things haven't been right for a long time. You know that. Do I? We barely talk anymore. We don't. He gestures vaguely. We're just going through motions. So you called a lawyer. I needed to understand my options. Your options? Yes. Elena nods. Something inside her settles into place. Okay, she says. Mark looks up. Okay, what? Okay. I understand. That's it. What else is there? I don't know. I thought. He stops. Are you angry? Elena considers the question honestly. No. I'm not angry. Then what are you? Prepared. Mark stares at her. What does that mean? It means I'll have my attorney contact yours. Your attorney? You don't have. He stops. Understanding dawns. You already saw someone. Yes. When? Today. Mark stands again. Are you serious right now? Completely. You went to see a lawyer without talking to me first? You did the same thing. That's different. How? Mark doesn't answer. Elena picks up her bag. I'm going to stay with my sister for a few days. Elena, wait. I'll come by this weekend to get some things. Please. Can we talk about this? She pauses in the doorway. I think we're done talking. I didn't want it to be like this, he says quietly. Neither did I. She walks out, gets in her car, drives to Amy's house without calling first. Amy answers the door and takes one look at her face. What happened? Can I stay here tonight? Of course. What happened? Elena steps inside, sets her bag down. I think, she says slowly, I just filed for divorce. She hasn't yet. But in the car, she opens her email and begins filling out Jessica Chin's intake form. She completes all 20 pages. Attaches documentation. At 9:47 p.m., she sends it. The response comes 6 minutes later. Received. I'll review tonight and call you tomorrow morning. You did the right thing. Best, Jessica. Elena reads it twice. Then she turns off her phone and lies down on Amy's couch, staring at an unfamiliar ceiling, aware that something has been set in motion that she can no longer stop. Jessica calls at 8:30 Friday morning. Elena is sitting in Amy's kitchen, coffee untouched, watching the neighbor's cat walk along a fence. I've reviewed everything you sent, Jessica says. We can file today if you're ready. Today. The intake is complete. Documentation is solid. There's no reason to wait unless you need more time. Elena watches the cat pause mid-step, one paw suspended. What happens after we file? The court processes it. Takes about 48 hours to generate a case number. Then we serve your husband. Once he's served, he has 30 days to respond. And then we wait. Discovery. Negotiations. Potentially mediation. It varies. The cat continues walking. Disappears behind a tree. File it, Elena says. You're sure? Yes. Okay. I'll submit everything this afternoon. Expect the case number by Monday. I'll call you when we have it. The call ends. Elena sits at the table for another 20 minutes without moving. Amy appears in the doorway at 9, still in pajamas. You're up early. Couldn't sleep. Want breakfast? Not really. Amy sits down anyway. Pours herself coffee. So what's the plan? I don't know yet. Are you going back to the apartment? Eventually. I need to get more clothes. You want me to come with you? Elena considers. No. I should do it alone. Amy nods. Doesn't push. At 10:30, Elena drives to the apartment. Parks in her usual spot. Takes the elevator up. The hallway is quiet. She stands outside the door for a full minute before using her key. Inside, everything is exactly as she left it. Coat still on the chair. Glass still in the sink. Mark's laptop still on the kitchen table. She walks through the rooms listening for signs of him. Here's nothing. In the bedroom, she pulls a suitcase from the closet and begins packing. Clothes. Toiletries. The book from her nightstand. She moves methodically, not thinking, just selecting items and placing them inside. She's zipping the suitcase when she hears the front door open. Mark's voice. Elena. She doesn't answer. Footsteps. He appears in the doorway. He looks like he hasn't slept. Or showered. You came back, he says. Just to get some things. His eyes move to the suitcase. How long are you staying at Amy's? I don't know. Can we talk? Please. Elena lifts the suitcase off the bed. I don't think there's anything left to say. There's a lot left to say. I need you to understand that I never meant to hurt you. She walks past him toward the door. He follows. Elena, stop. Just for a minute. She stops. Doesn't turn around. I'm sorry, he says. For all of it. For how I handled things. For not being honest sooner. Elena turns. Honest about what? About how I was feeling. About us. You mean about wanting to leave? It's not that simple. It seems pretty simple to me. Mark's jaw tightens. You went through my private emails. You hired a lawyer without telling me. And somehow I'm the villain here. I never said you were a villain. You're acting like I am. Elena sets the suitcase down. You made plans to end our marriage without involving me. What did you expect me to do? I expected you to talk to me first. Like you talked to me? Mark doesn't answer. I'm leaving, Elena says, picking up the suitcase again. When are you coming back? I don't know. Elena, I have to go. She leaves before he can say anything else. Monday morning, Jessica calls again. We have a case number. Service is scheduled for Wednesday. Where? His workplace. It's standard. A process server will deliver the papers. Elena is at her own desk when she receives this information. Around her, the office operates normally. Phones ringing. Keyboards clicking. Someone laughing in the break room. What happens when he gets them? She asks. He'll have the petition. A summons. Information about his rights and obligations. He'll probably call you. Okay. Elena, I should prepare you. People often react badly to being served. Especially at work. It can feel humiliating. I understand. Are you comfortable with that? Elena looks out her office window. A truck is delivering office supplies. 2 workers are unloading boxes, moving in synchronized efficiency. Yes, she says. Wednesday arrives cold and bright. Elena goes to work. Sits through a meeting about budget allocations. Approves a purchase order. Responds to 14 emails. At 2:17, her phone rings. Mark. She doesn't answer. 3 minutes later, he calls again. She declines it. A text arrives. What the fuck, Elena? Then another. You had me served at work? Then, call me. Now. She sets the phone face down on her desk. Rachel knocks. You okay? You look pale. I'm fine. You sure? Yes. Rachel leaves, unconvinced. Elena's phone continues buzzing. Call after call. Text after text. She stops looking. At 4, Jessica calls. Your husband's attorney just contacted me. He retained someone this afternoon. Who? Michael Brennan. He's good. Aggressive, but fair. What does that mean? It means this won't be easy. But it also means he's taking it seriously. Elena nods, even though Jessica can't see her. What's next? He has 30 days to file a response. During that time, both sides prepare financial disclosures. We'll request documentation. They'll do the same. It's all procedural at this point. How long does all of this take? Months, typically. Could be longer if we can't reach agreements. After the call, Elena sits at her desk until the office empties. Then she sits longer. The building's lights dim automatically at 6. Security makes rounds at 7. She's still there at 8 when her phone rings again. Amy, where are you? Work. It's 8 o'clock. I know. Come home. Or come here. Don't just sit there. Elena gathers her things and leaves. The next 2 weeks pass in a strange suspension. Elena goes to work. Returns to Amy's. Sleeps poorly. Eats irregularly. Exists in the space between one thing ending and another not yet beginning. Mark calls less frequently, but still calls. She never answers. His texts shift from angry to confused to something approaching conciliatory. She reads them all. Responds to none. Jessica sends updates. Financial disclosure requests submitted. Response deadline approaching. Court dates months away. Everything moving slowly and inevitably forward. Elena fills out forms. Provides documentation. Answers questions about assets she barely remembers acquiring. The apartment. The car. A joint investment account she hasn't checked in years. She begins sleeping on Amy's couch instead of the guest room. She's not sure why. Amy doesn't ask. At work, she makes mistakes. Small ones. A miscalculated budget line. A meeting scheduled for the wrong time. An email sent to the wrong recipient. Rachel notices. You want to talk about it? No. Is it family stuff? Something like that. Rachel doesn't press further, but her concern is obvious. Elena avoids her when possible. One evening, Elena drives past the apartment without planning to. Parks across the street. Watches the windows. Lights on in the bedroom. Movement behind the curtains. Mark's silhouette passing once, twice. She sits there for 40 minutes before driving away. Amy finds her on the couch at midnight, awake, staring at nothing. You can't keep doing this, Amy says. Doing what? This. Whatever this is. Elena doesn't respond. Have you eaten today? I don't remember. Amy disappears and returns with toast. Elena eats half of it mechanically. He's called me, Amy says. Elena looks up. What? Mark. He called me yesterday. Wanted to know if you're okay. What did you say? That you're staying here. That you're dealing with things. Did he say anything else? He asked if there was someone else. I told him no. Elena nods. He sounded lost, Amy adds. I kind of felt bad for him. Don't. I'm just saying. Don't feel bad for him. Amy holds up her hands. Okay. On the 18th day after filing, Jessica calls with a development. His attorney wants to schedule a preliminary conference. It's not required yet, but sometimes it helps move things along. What would we discuss? Potential areas of agreement. Contested issues. Asset division. It's exploratory. When? Next week if you're available. Wednesday afternoon. Elena checks her calendar. It's empty. Everything is empty. I'll be there, she says. That night, she dreams about the apartment. In the dream, she's packing boxes, but every item she puts in disappears. She keeps packing anyway. The boxes multiply. Mark is in the next room, but she can't see him. She can only hear him moving things. Closing drawers. Locking doors. She wakes at 4 in the morning, disoriented. Amy's living room materializes slowly around her. She doesn't go back to sleep. The preliminary conference is scheduled in a conference room at Jessica's office. Elena arrives 15 minutes early. Jessica meets her in the lobby. Michael will be here with your husband. The goal is to keep things civil and productive. Let me do most of the talking. Okay. They take the elevator up. Enter the conference room. It's neutral. Beige walls. Long table. Water bottles arranged at intervals. At 3 o'clock exactly, the door opens. Michael Brennan enters first. Tall, mid-50s, carrying a leather briefcase. He nods professionally at Jessica. Mark follows. Elena hasn't seen him in person since she left with the suitcase. He looks thinner, tired. He meets her eyes briefly, then looks away. Everyone sits. Jessica on one side with Elena. Michael on the other with Mark. The table between them feels both too wide and not wide enough. Michael opens a folder. Thank you both for agreeing to meet. I think we can be efficient here if we focus on areas where agreement is possible. Jessica nods. Agreed. Let's start with the apartment, Michael says. It's jointly owned. Purchased in 2019. Current value approximately $600,000. Outstanding mortgage. We don't need the full details right now. Jessica interrupts. The question is whether either party wants to retain it. Michael looks at Mark. Mark clears his throat. I think we should sell, he says. His voice sounds strange. Too formal. Jessica looks at Elena. Elena nods. Agreed, Jessica says. We can work out terms. Michael makes a note. Joint accounts. There are 3. Total balance across all accounts is approximately $47,000. Elena notices the number is lower than it was. Wonders what Mark has withdrawn. Decides not to ask now. The discussion continues. Retirement accounts. The car. Furniture. Items that once had meaning reduced to line items on a spreadsheet. Mark speaks occasionally, but mostly lets Michael handle it. Elena does the same with Jessica. At one point, Michael suggests a break. They separate into different rooms. Elena drinks water she doesn't taste. You're doing fine, Jessica says. I don't feel fine. That's normal. When they return, Michael has a new topic. Spousal support, he says. My client is prepared to. No, Elena says. Everyone looks at her. I don't want spousal support, she says. Jessica touches her arm. Elena, we should discuss this privately before. I don't want it. Mark is staring at her. She doesn't look back. Michael and Jessica exchange glances. Some silent professional communication Elena doesn't understand. We can table that for now, Michael says finally. The meeting continues another 40 minutes. Nothing is resolved. Everything is deferred. More documentation needed. More time required. Another meeting scheduled. When it ends, Michael and Mark leave first. Elena watches them disappear down the hallway. You shouldn't have refused spousal support without discussing it. Jessica says once they're alone. I don't want his money. It's not about what you want. It's about what you're entitled to. I don't care. Jessica studies her. Okay, but we're revisiting this later. Elena drives back to Amy's house. Parks. Sits in the car. Her phone buzzes. A text from Mark. Can we talk? Just the two of us. No lawyers. She reads it 3 times. Types, no? Deletes it. Types, what's there to talk about? Deletes that too. Leaves it unanswered. Inside, Amy is cooking dinner. The house smells like garlic and something burning. How did it go? Amy asks. Fine. That's it. Fine. We scheduled another meeting. Nothing's decided. Amy turns off the stove. Elena. What? You can't keep doing this to yourself. Doing what? Pretending you're okay when you're clearly not. Elena sets her bag down. What am I supposed to do? Fall apart. If that's what you need to do, then yes. That won't help anything. Neither will this. Elena walks to the window. Outside, the neighbor's cat is on the fence again. Same careful steps. Same measured pace. He wants to talk, she says. Without lawyers. Are you going to? I don't know. Her phone buzzes again. Another text from Mark. Please. She shows it to Amy. What do you think? Elena asks. I think, Amy says slowly. That depends on what you want to happen. I don't know what I want to happen. Then maybe you're not ready to talk to him. Elena nods. Sits at the kitchen table. Amy places a plate in front of her. She eats without tasting anything. That night, lying on the couch, she thinks about the conference room. The way Mark looked when she said she didn't want spousal support. The way Michael and Jessica communicated without speaking. The way nothing was resolved and everything was deferred. She thinks about Mark's texts. The word, please, sitting unanswered in her phone. She thinks about the apartment they agreed to sell. The life being divided into line items. The future suspended in procedural limbo. She doesn't cry. She just lies there, waiting for something to shift, knowing nothing will until someone makes it. Her phone lights up on the coffee table. Mark again. I know you're reading these. I know you're avoiding me. I just need to understand why you're doing this. Why you won't even talk to me. Elena reads it. Turns the phone face down. Closes her eyes. Waits for sleep that doesn't come. The second preliminary conference is scheduled for a Thursday morning 3 weeks later. Elena arrives early again. Jessica is already there, reviewing documents spread across the table. I spoke with Michael yesterday, Jessica says. He mentioned your husband wants to expedite things. Push for a settlement. Why? He didn't specify, but it usually means something's changed. At 9 o'clock, the conference room door opens. Michael enters alone. Mark isn't coming, he says, setting his briefcase down. He asked me to proceed without him. Jessica glances at Elena. Is there a reason? Michael sits. Opens his folder with deliberate precision. My client feels the meetings are unproductive. He's prepared to communicate through counsel only. That's his choice, Jessica says. They proceed through the agenda. Asset division. Timeline discussions. Outstanding documentation. Michael's responses are clipped, efficient, lacking the collaborative tone from the last meeting. Halfway through, he sets his pen down. There's something we need to address, he says. My client recently discovered that your client withdrew funds from their joint account prior to filing. Jessica doesn't react. The withdrawal was within her legal rights. The account is joint. The amount was significant, for $1,000, and it was done without notification. Notification isn't required for joint accounts below the threshold. Perhaps not legally, but it demonstrates a pattern of secretive behavior. Elena feels Jessica stiffen beside her. Secretive? Jessica says. Your client was consulting a divorce attorney for weeks without informing my client. I'd call that secretive. Michael's expression doesn't change. My client was gathering information. That's different from actively moving assets. $4,000 is hardly asset concealment. It establishes intent. The room goes quiet. Elena watches Michael's hand resting on his folder. No ring. She wonders if he's divorced too. Wonders if everyone in this room is. Is there a point here? Jessica asks. The point, Michael says, is that my client entered this process believing your client was unaware of his intentions. He now understands that was incorrect. He's reassessing his approach accordingly. Meaning what? Meaning we'll be more thorough in our discovery requests. More careful in our documentation. My client feels he was operating under false pretenses. Elena almost laughs. Stops herself. Jessica leans forward. Your client was planning to file for divorce without his wife's knowledge. She became aware through his own carelessness. Any reassessment on his part is his problem, not ours. Michael closes his folder. I think we're done for today. We haven't finished. We're done. He stands, leaves without further comment. Jessica sits back, exhales slowly. Well, she says. That's new. That afternoon, Elena receives a call from an unknown number. She almost doesn't answer. Elena Morrison? A woman's voice. Professional. Yes. This is Patricia Nguyen from Whitmore Consulting. I'm calling regarding a reference check. We have an application from Mark Morrison listing you as a reference for character and financial stability. Elena stops walking. She's in the parking lot outside her office. What? We're conducting due diligence for a loan application. He listed you as his spouse. I just have a few questions. We're separated. Pause. I see. Is the separation recent? We filed for divorce in March. Longer pause. I'll make a note of that. Do you have contact information for his attorney? We'll need to verify. I can give you my attorney's information. That would be helpful. Elena provides Jessica's details. The call ends abruptly. She sits in her car, hands on the steering wheel. Wonders what loan Mark is applying for. Wonders what else he's doing that she doesn't know about. Her phone rings again. Jessica. I just got a very interesting call, Jessica says. Someone verifying information for a loan application? She called me too. Did Mark mention applying for a loan? No. It's probably for the apartment buyout. Or he's planning to purchase something else. Can he do that? During a divorce? Technically, yes. But it complicates asset division. I'll send Michael a letter. After the call, Elena sits in the parking lot until the sun starts setting. Then she drives to the apartment. Doesn't plan to go inside. Just wants to see it. A different car is parked in Mark's spot. A sedan she doesn't recognize. She checks the license plate against her phone. Runs a search. The results show it's a rental. She parks across the street and waits. At 6:30, Mark emerges from the building. He's not alone. A woman Elena doesn't recognize walks beside him. Younger. Mid-30s maybe. Carrying a briefcase. They stand by the rental car talking. The woman laughs at something Mark says. He gestures toward the building. They talk for another 5 minutes before the woman gets in the car and drives away. Mark stands on the sidewalk checking his phone. Then he goes back inside. Elena starts her car and leaves. Friday morning, Rachel corners her in the break room. Okay, what's going on? Rachel says. Nothing. You've been weird for weeks. You're losing weight. You're making mistakes. I covered for you in the Henderson meeting yesterday when you completely zoned out. Elena pours coffee she doesn't want. I'm handling some personal stuff. What kind of personal stuff? The kind I don't want to talk about at work. Rachel's expression softens. Is it Mark? Elena sets the coffee down. Yes. Are you guys okay? No. I'm sorry. Do you want to? I don't want to talk about it. Rachel nods. Waits a beat. If you need anything. I know. Thank you. Back at her desk, Elena finds an email from Jessica. Need to discuss a development. Call when you can. Elena calls immediately. Michael sent over their financial disclosure. Jessica says. There are some discrepancies. What kind? Mark listed the joint account balance as $32,000. It's currently at $28,000. He withdrew $4,000 too? Actually, $6,000. After your $4,000 withdrawal. But there's more. He's listed a debt I don't recognize. $15,000 to his brother. Says it's a personal loan from 2 years ago. I didn't know about any loan. Did you know he borrowed money from his brother? No. Jessica is quiet for a moment. Either he's documenting debts you weren't aware of, or he's creating them to reduce the marital estate. Can he do that? Not legally. But he can claim it. We'll need to investigate. I'll request documentation from his brother. What if his brother lies for him? Then we'll need to prove it. Bank records. Communication. It's complicated. After the call ends, Elena searches her email for any mention of Mark's brother. Finds nothing. Checks old text messages. Also nothing. She opens a separate search for the brother's name and loan. No results. At lunch, she calls Amy. Did Mark ever mention borrowing money from his brother? What? No. What? He's claiming he owes him $15,000. That's bullshit. When would that have happened? Supposedly 2 years ago. You'd have known about that. You guys shared finances. That's what I thought. Amy's voice hardens. He's making it up. Maybe. I don't know. What are you going to do? Jessica's handling it. That's not what I asked. Elena doesn't answer. That evening, Mark calls. The first time in over a week. She stares at the screen until it goes to voicemail. The voicemail notification appears. She listens. Elena, I know you're not answering. I know you probably hate me. But I need you to understand something. I never wanted this to get ugly. I was trying to do the right thing. But you went through my emails. You filed first. You're making this into something it doesn't have to be. Long pause. I just want this to be over. Can we please just settle this? Without all the lawyers and the games? Call me back. Please. She saves the message. Sends it to Jessica. Jessica's response comes 30 minutes later. Interesting. He's feeling pressure. Don't engage. The following Monday, Elena arrives at work to find her supervisor waiting by her desk. Elena, do you have a minute? Sure. They go to his office. He closes the door. I received a call this morning, he says, from someone asking about your employment status and salary information. Elena's stomach tightens. Who? They said they were conducting a verification for a legal matter. I didn't provide any information without your consent, but I wanted to make you aware. Did they say what legal matter? No, but they mentioned it was related to a domestic case. He pauses. Is everything okay? I'm going through a divorce. His expression shifts to something between sympathy and discomfort. I see. I'm sorry. Do you need time off? No. I'm managing. If that changes, let me know. And for the record, I won't release any information without your written authorization. Thank you. Back at her desk, she calls Jessica. They're verifying your employment, Jessica says. Standard procedure. But it means they're building their case thoroughly. What are they looking for? Income documentation. Proof of earning capacity. It affects spousal support calculations. I already said I don't want spousal support. And I already told you that's not final. Michael is positioning his client to avoid paying it. Even if you don't want it now, circumstances change. I don't want anything from him. Elena, I understand the impulse. But you need to think practically. You've been married 14 years. You're entitled to. I don't care what I'm entitled to. Jessica sighs. We'll discuss this later. That night, Elena receives an email from an address she doesn't recognize. No subject line. She opens it cautiously. The message is brief. You should know your husband's been meeting with a real estate agent. Thought you'd want to be informed. A friend. No signature. No additional details. Elena stares at it. Considers responding. Decides against it. She forwards it to Jessica with a question mark. Jessica responds. Ignore it. Could be legitimate. Could be someone stirring trouble. Either way, we'll find out through proper channels. At midnight, unable to sleep, Elena gets up and opens her laptop. Searches for recent real estate listings in their neighborhood. Finds 3 new condos listed in the past week. All 1 bedroom. All priced for single occupancy. She wonders if Mark is looking at any of them. Wonders if he's already planning his next life while this one is still being dismantled. Her phone buzzes. A text from Mark. I know you got called about the employment verification. I'm sorry. My attorney said it was necessary. I didn't want to involve your work. She reads it twice. Types. Then why did you? Deletes it. Types. A little late for apologies. Deletes that too. Closes the messaging app without responding. Wednesday afternoon, Jessica calls with an update. Michael's office sent over documentation for the alleged loan from Mark's brother. It's a signed promissory note dated 2 years ago. Does it look legitimate? On paper, yes. But the timing is convenient. I've requested bank records to verify the transfer. If there's no corresponding deposit, we'll challenge it. What if there is? Then we verify you weren't informed. Loans incurred without spousal knowledge during marriage can be contested depending on what the funds were used for. How long does this take? Weeks. Maybe longer. Discovery is always slow. Elena looks out her office window. A delivery truck is blocking traffic. Cars are honking. No one is moving. Is it always like this? She asks. Like what? This slow. This tedious. Almost always. How do people stand it? Jessica's voice softens. They don't have a choice. The system moves at its own pace. After work, Elena drives past the apartment again. Different rental car in Mark's spot this time. Same woman from before exits the building. She's carrying a folder now. Gets in the car and drives away. Elena follows her. Not closely, just enough to see where she goes. The woman drives to an office building downtown. Parks. Enters through the main lobby. Elena parks across the street and searches the building directory on her phone. Finds a law firm on the 7th floor. Not Michael Brennan's firm. A different one. She takes a photo of the building. Sends it to Jessica with no explanation. Jessica calls 5 minutes later. Where are you? Across the street from 450 Market. Why? Mark's been meeting with a woman. She just went into that building. Elena, you can't follow people. I wasn't following her. I was just observing. That's still following. Who is she? I don't know. Could be another attorney. Could be a mediator. Could be someone from the loan company. It doesn't matter. It matters to me. Elena. Jessica's tone shifts. You need to stop. Let me handle the discovery. Don't investigate on your own. It can hurt your case. How? Because it makes you look unstable. Desperate. If Mark's attorney finds out you're following people, they'll use it against you. Elena sits in her car, gripping the steering wheel. Are you still there? Jessica asks. Yes. Go home. Or wherever you're staying. Get some rest. Okay. I mean it. Okay. The call ends. Elena sits for another 20 minutes before driving away. That night at Amy's, she can't eat. Can't focus. Can't sit still. Amy watches her pace the living room. What happened? Amy asks. Nothing. Everything. I don't know. You're spiraling. I'm fine. You're not fine. You followed someone today. Elena stops. How do you know that? Because I know you. And you have that look. Elena sits on the couch. Puts her head in her hands. He's doing things I don't know about, she says. Loans. Real estate. Meeting people. And I'm just supposed to sit here and wait for lawyers to figure it out. That's how it works. It's not working fast enough. Amy sits beside her. What do you want to happen? I want it to be over. It will be. Eventually. When? I don't know. Elena's phone buzzes. Another text from Mark. Can we please just talk? Face to face? No lawyers? She shows it to Amy. Are you going to respond? Amy asks. Should I? I don't know. Do you want to see him? Elena thinks about it. Really thinks about it. No, she says finally. I don't. She deletes the text. But that night, lying on the couch, she can't stop thinking about the woman. The rental car. The building downtown. The folder. Can't stop wondering what Mark is planning that she doesn't know about yet. Can't stop feeling like she's losing control of something she never fully had in the first place. Her phone lights up one more time. Another message. She doesn't look at it. Just closes her eyes and waits for morning, knowing it will bring more questions and fewer answers. The email arrives on a Tuesday morning. Elena is in a meeting when her phone vibrates. She glances at the screen. An automated message from HR. Please schedule a meeting with Director of Human Resources at your earliest convenience regarding a sensitive matter. She reads it twice during a presentation about quarterly projections. Doesn't absorb a single word of the presentation. At 11, she's in the HR director's office. Sharon Chen sits across from her with a folder open. Thank you for coming in, Sharon says. I want to be direct. We received a subpoena yesterday requesting employment records, salary history, and performance evaluations. Elena's hands stay folded in her lap. For me? Yes. From an attorney representing your spouse in a domestic matter. Sharon pauses. I wanted to inform you before we respond. We're legally obligated to comply, but you have the right to be aware. What will you provide? Everything they've requested. Employment dates, salary progression, benefits enrollment, any disciplinary actions, though you don't have any, and your last 3 performance reviews. When? We have 10 days to respond. Elena nods. Sharon closes the folder. I also need to ask, is there anything about your current situation that might affect your work or create a conflict of interest? No. Are you certain? Because if circumstances change, I'm certain. Sharon doesn't look convinced. Okay. If you need accommodations, time off, or resources, let me know. Back at her desk, Elena calls Jessica. They subpoenaed my employer, she says. I know. Michael copied me this morning. It's standard. It doesn't feel standard. I understand. But it's procedural. They're documenting everything for the settlement calculation. What else are they documenting? Jessica hesitates. What do you mean? What else have they requested that I don't know about? Elena. What else? They've subpoenaed your bank records. Credit card statements. Tax returns for the past 5 years. Your retirement account administrator. It's comprehensive, but it's normal. Normal, Elena repeats. Yes. After the call, Elena sits at her desk staring at nothing. Around her, the office operates. Phones ring. Keyboards click. Someone laughs at something. She opens her email and begins drafting her resignation. Gets 3 sentences in before deleting it. That evening, Amy finds her sitting in the dark in the living room. You okay? They subpoenaed my employer. Amy sits down. Jesus. And my bank. And my credit cards. And everything else. That's a lot. Jessica says it's normal. Is it? I don't know what normal is anymore. Amy turns on a lamp. Elena squints at the sudden brightness. Have you eaten? Amy asks. I don't remember. I'm making you eat. 20 minutes later, Elena is sitting at the kitchen table with a plate of pasta she isn't touching. Amy sits across from her, also not eating. You can't keep doing this, Amy says. You've said that before. Because it's still true. You're barely sleeping. You're not eating. You're obsessing over every detail. What else am I supposed to do? Live. Even just a little bit. Elena pushes pasta around her plate. I don't know how. Her phone buzzes. A text from a number she doesn't recognize. This is Karen from the building management office. Your husband requested access to update the apartment listing. We need your authorization by Friday. Elena shows the text to Amy. He's listing it without telling you. Amy says, apparently. Can he do that? I don't know. Elena forwards the text to Jessica. Gets a response 30 seconds later. Don't authorize anything. I'll handle it. Thursday afternoon, Elena is called into another meeting. This time with her supervisor and someone from legal. We need to discuss a complication, her supervisor says. The subpoena requests information about a project you managed 2 years ago. The Chun Industries account. Elena tries to remember. What about it? The legal representative, a man named David, opens a laptop. The requesting attorney is asking for documentation about financial decisions made during that project, specifically budget reallocations and vendor selections. Why? We're not entirely sure, but it suggests they're looking for evidence of financial decision-making capacity or professional judgment. Elena's supervisor adds, or they're building a case about your earning potential. This is normal? Elena asks. David and her supervisor exchange glances. It's unusual, David admits. Most divorce discovery focuses on compensation and benefits. Drilling into specific project decisions is more aggressive than typical. What does that mean? It means his attorney is being thorough, or they're looking for something specific. After the meeting, Elena sits in her car in the parking garage. Calls Jessica. They're subpoenaing information about my work projects. From 2 years ago. Jessica is quiet. Which projects? Elena explains. That is unusual, Jessica says. I'll reach out to Michael. Find out what they're looking for. And if he won't tell you, then we file a motion to quash the subpoena. Argue it's overly broad and irrelevant to marital asset division. How long does that take? Weeks. Elena ends the call and sits in the car until security makes rounds. Friday brings another complication. Elena receives a call from their mortgage lender. Ms. Morrison, I'm calling about a refinancing application we received from your husband. What? He's applying to refinance the property at. The woman provides the apartment address. He listed you as a co-applicant. We need your signature and employment verification. I didn't apply to refinance anything. Pause. I see. He indicated you'd be co-signing. I'm not. Then we can't process the application. Our records show joint ownership. Any refinancing requires both parties. Good. After the call, Elena texts Jessica. He tried to refinance the apartment without telling me. Jessica responds immediately. Call me. On the phone, Jessica sounds frustrated. This is beyond aggressive. He can't refinance joint property without your consent. But he tried. Yes. Which means either he doesn't understand the law or he's testing boundaries. What do I do? Nothing. I'll notify Michael that this is unacceptable. If it continues, we can file for sanctions. That afternoon, Michael calls Jessica directly. Elena is copied on the follow-up email. Michael claims the refinancing application was a misunderstanding. His client believed he could pursue options independently. I've corrected that misapprehension. Expect no further attempts. Elena reads it 3 times. Believes none of it. Saturday, Amy has plans and leaves Elena alone in the house. Elena spends the morning cleaning things that don't need cleaning, organizing things that are already organized. At noon, her phone rings. Her mother. Amy told me. Her mother says. No preamble. No greeting. Told you what? About you and Mark. Elena sits down. When? Last week. She was worried about you. Why didn't you tell me? I was going to. When? I don't know. When it felt less complicated. Her mother sighs. These things are always complicated. That's not a reason to suffer alone. I'm not suffering. Amy says you're not eating. Not sleeping. Amy shouldn't have called you. She was right to call me. You're my daughter. Elena doesn't respond. Do you need anything? Her mother asks. Money? A place to stay? I'm fine. You keep saying that. Because it's true. Is it? Elena looks out the window. The neighbor's cat is on the fence again. Same position. Same careful steps. I have to go, Elena says. Elena, I'll call you later. She ends the call. Immediately feels guilty. Doesn't call back. Instead, she opens her laptop and checks the shared cloud folder. New files have appeared, dated from this week. She clicks on one. It's a spreadsheet, titled Asset Division Proposed. The document is password protected. She tries Mark's birthday, his mother's birthday, their anniversary. All fail. She tries the address of his childhood home. It opens. The spreadsheet lists everything. The apartment, the cars, furniture, retirement accounts, bank balances. Everything itemized, valued, divided. Mark's proposed division gives him the car, most of the furniture, his full retirement account, half of hers. The apartment is marked TBD, buyout, or sale. At the bottom, a note, pending resolution of debt verification. Spousal support, declined by EP. Asset transfer timeline, 60 days post-decree. Elena reads it again. EP, Elena Peterson. Her maiden name. He's already using her maiden name in internal documents. She closes the laptop, walks to the kitchen, pours water, stands at the sink. Her phone buzzes. Jessica, need to update you on a development. Michael filed a motion to compel you to undergo a financial deposition. It's scheduled for 2 weeks from Monday. Elena calls immediately. What's a financial deposition? It's where you answer questions under oath about assets, income, spending habits, financial decisions. Why? Because Michael wants to establish your earning capacity and financial sophistication. It supports their case against spousal support. I already said I don't want spousal support, and they want it on record under oath. They're being cautious. Can I refuse? No. It's court-ordered. You have to attend. What kind of questions? Everything. How much you earn. How you spend money. What you knew about marital finances. What decisions you made. What you plan to do after the divorce. That's invasive. It's standard. Elena sits down. How long does it take? Could be hours. Could be all day. Depends on what they want to cover. Will you be there? Yes. I can object to questions, but you'll still have to answer most of them. After the call, Elena sits at the kitchen table until the light changes. Afternoon becomes evening. Evening becomes night. Amy comes home at 8. Finds her sitting in the dark. Did you eat? No. Are you okay? I have to give a deposition. Amy turns on lights. Starts pulling out food. What does that mean? It means I sit in a room and answer questions about my entire financial life while Mark's attorney takes notes. That sounds awful. It is awful. When 2 weeks. Amy sets a sandwich in front of her. You'll get through it. Will I? Yes. Elena takes a bite. Chews mechanically. Swallows. Her phone buzzes again. A text from an unknown number. You should check your credit report. There's activity you need to see. She shows it to Amy. Who's that from? Amy asks. I don't know. Are you going to check? Elena opens her banking app. Navigates to credit monitoring. Waits for it to load. A notification appears. New inquiry on your credit report. She clicks it. 2 inquiries from the past week. One from the mortgage lender. One from a credit card company she doesn't recognize. He's applying for credit in my name, Elena says. Amy leans over to look. Can he do that? I don't know. Elena forwards the screenshot to Jessica. Gets an immediate response. Call me now. Jessica answers on the first ring. This is fraud, she says. Actual fraud. You need to file a police report. What? If he's applying for credit using your information without authorization, that's identity theft. Even if you're married, he's still my husband. That doesn't give him the right to fraudulent credit applications. File a report. Tonight, if possible. That feels extreme. It's appropriate. And it protects you. If he's opened accounts you don't know about, you need documentation that you didn't authorize it. Elena looks at Amy. Amy nods. Okay, Elena says. I'll file a report. Call me after. I mean it. The police station is fluorescent and crowded. Elena waits 40 minutes to speak with someone. The officer who takes her report is young, tired, disinterested. You're married to this person? He asks. Yes. Separated. And you think he's applying for credit in your name? I know he is. I have documentation. Do you share finances? We have joint accounts. But these applications are separate. The officer makes notes. I'll file the report. You'll get a case number. Take that to the credit bureaus to dispute any fraudulent accounts. What happens to him? That depends. If he's opened accounts, we investigate. If it's just inquiries, probably nothing. Might just be his attorney doing due diligence. Due diligence doesn't require credit applications. The officer shrugs. I'm just telling you what usually happens. You'll get a case number in a few days. Elena leaves with a receipt. Calls Jessica from the parking lot. I filed it. Good. Now contact the 3 credit bureaus. Freeze your credit. Make it impossible for new accounts to open without your explicit authorization. Okay. And Elena? Yes. This is escalating. Be prepared for more. Sunday morning, Elena wakes to 17 missed calls. All from the same number. Not Mark. Someone else. She listens to the first voicemail. Ms. Morrison, this is David Chun from Elite Properties. I'm the listing agent for your apartment. I need to speak with you urgently about an issue with the listing. Please call me back. The second voicemail is more agitated. Ms. Morrison, I've been trying to reach you. Your husband provided documentation that you'd authorize the listing. I need verbal confirmation before we can proceed with showings scheduled for this afternoon. The third voicemail is angry. I have 3 potential buyers arriving in 2 hours. If I don't hear from you in the next 30 minutes, I'm canceling the showings and removing the listing. This is extremely unprofessional. Elena calls Jessica. He listed the apartment, Jessica says. She already knows. Michael called me an hour ago. Apparently Mark forged your signature on the listing agreement. He forged my signature? Yes. That's illegal. Yes. I've already contacted the real estate agent. The listing is being pulled. But what? But this means we're escalating to another level. Forging signatures. Credit fraud. This isn't just aggressive divorce tactics anymore. This is criminal behavior. Elena sits on the edge of Amy's guest bed. Her hands are shaking now. Finally, what do I do, she asks. Nothing right now. I'm handling it. But you should know, this changes things. Michael is either unaware of what his client is doing, or he's enabling it. Either way, cooperation is over. After the call, Elena showers, dresses, sits at the kitchen table while Amy makes coffee. He forged my signature, Elena says. Amy stops mid-pour. Jesus Christ. And applied for credit in my name. And tried to refinance the apartment without telling me. He's losing it. Or he's panicking. Same thing. Elena's phone rings again. Michael Brennan's office. She doesn't answer. A voicemail appears. She listens. Ms. Morrison, this is Michael Brennan. I need to speak with you urgently regarding recent allegations made by your attorney. These are serious accusations that require immediate clarification. Please return my call. She deletes it. Jessica calls 10 seconds later. Michael just called me, Jessica says. He claims Mark is being framed. That someone is making fraudulent applications in both your names to sabotage the divorce. That's insane. I know. I told him to provide proof. He said he's investigating. Do you believe him? No. But it buys Mark time to cover his tracks. What happens now? We proceed with discovery. Take depositions. Document everything. If Mark continues this behavior, we petition the court for emergency relief. What's emergency relief? Asset freezing. Restraining orders. Supervised contact only. It depends on what we can prove. Elena leans against the counter. Outside, the sun is setting. The day has passed without her noticing. I just wanted it to be over, she says quietly. I know. It keeps getting worse. I know that too. That night, Elena lies on Amy's couch staring at her phone. No calls. No texts. No messages. Just silence that feels heavier than noise. At 11:47 p.m., her phone lights up. Mark, I never wanted this. Any of this. You have to believe me. She reads it. Types, I don't. Deletes it. Types, too late. Deletes that too. Closes her eyes and finally, mercifully, falls asleep. The deposition takes place in a conference room on the 19th floor of a building Elena has never been to. She arrives 15 minutes early. Jessica is already there, reviewing notes. Remember, Jessica says, answer only what's asked. Don't volunteer information. Don't elaborate. If you're not sure, say you don't remember. Okay. Michael will try to make you uncomfortable. That's his job. Stay calm. At 9 o'clock, Michael Brennan enters with a court reporter. Mark is not present. Where's your client? Jessica asks. He chose not to attend, Michael says. It's his right. They sit. The court reporter sets up equipment. Elena is sworn in. Her hand doesn't shake when she raises it. Michael begins. State your full name for the record. Elena Christine Morrison. And your current address? Jessica interrupts. My client is residing temporarily with family. For privacy reasons, we're not providing a specific address. Michael makes a note. Current employer? Whitmore Associates. Position? Senior Project Manager. Annual salary? $87,000. And how long have you held this position? 3 years. Michael continues. Employment history. Education. Professional certifications. Questions she answers mechanically, her voice flat and consistent. Then he shifts. During your marriage, who managed the household finances? We both did. Who paid the bills? Usually Mark. But I had access to all accounts. Did you review account statements regularly? Sometimes. How often is sometimes? I don't remember exactly. Once a month? Once a year? Elena pauses. Periodically. Were you aware of all marital debts? I thought I was. But you weren't aware of the loan from your husband's brother? No. Why not? I wasn't told about it. Did you ask about debts? I didn't think I needed to. Michael leans back. You managed multi-million-dollar budgets professionally, but you didn't think to ask about household debts? Jessica cuts in. Argumentative. I'll rephrase. Did you consider yourself financially sophisticated? In my professional capacity, yes. But not personally. I trusted my husband to be honest about our finances. Michael makes notes. More questions follow. About spending habits. Major purchases. Investment decisions. Credit cards. Tax returns. Hours pass. The court reporter's fingers never stop moving. Jessica objects periodically. Elena answers questions until the words stop meaning anything. At 1:30, they break for lunch. Elena doesn't eat. She sits in a small office down the hall drinking water and staring at a wall. You're doing fine, Jessica says. How much longer? Probably another 2 hours. The afternoon session is worse. Michael focuses on the weeks before Elena filed. The email access. The bank withdrawal. The consultation with Jessica. When did you first access your husband's email? I don't remember the exact date. But you admit you accessed it without his permission? Yes. How many times? 2 or 3. And you don't consider that a violation of privacy? I consider it self-protection. Did you access any other accounts or files without permission? Elena hesitates. I accessed shared cloud storage. But it was shared. I had permission. Did you download files from that storage? Yes. How many? I don't know exactly. Approximately. Maybe 40 or 50. Did your husband know you were downloading these files? No. Michael makes extensive notes. You withdrew $4,000 from a joint account on March 8th. Why that amount? It was below the threshold requiring dual authorization. So you deliberately stayed below the threshold to avoid notifying your husband? I withdrew funds I was legally entitled to access. But you did it secretly. Jessica objects. Assumes facts not in evidence. Withdrawn. Michael shuffles papers. Did you plan to file for divorce before accessing your husband's email? No. When did you make that decision? After I saw the emails. So the emails caused you to file? They showed me what was already happening. What was happening? My husband was planning to divorce me without telling me. Or he was exploring options. You don't know his intent. The emails were clear. Were they? Did any email explicitly state an intent to file for divorce? Elena opens her mouth. Closes it. Not in those exact words. So you inferred intent from incomplete information? Yes. And based on that inference, you hired an attorney and filed first? Yes. Michael closes his folder. No further questions. The deposition ends at 4:17. Elena signs the transcript acknowledgement without reading it. In the elevator, Jessica says, "You did well." Elena doesn't respond. 3 weeks later, Jessica calls with news. Michael sent over a settlement proposal. And it's mostly reasonable. The apartment sells and proceeds split 60-40 in your favor. He keeps his retirement account. You keep yours. Joint accounts divided equally. Furniture and personal property divided by mutual agreement. What's the catch? No spousal support on either side. And he wants the division finalized within 60 days of the decree. Is that fast? It's aggressive, but doable. What do you think? I think it's fair. Not generous, but fair. You could push for better terms, but that means more time, more depositions, potentially trial. I don't want trial. Then I recommend we accept with minor modifications. I'll negotiate the timeline and some asset valuations, but the framework is workable. Okay. You're sure? Yes. I'll draft a counteroffer. The counterproposal goes back and forth twice. Minor adjustments. Furniture items. A painting Elena forgot she cared about. A set of dishes neither of them wants, but both claim. Eventually, terms are agreed upon. Jessica sends the final settlement agreement. 47 pages. Elena reads all of it, understanding none of it emotionally even though the language is clear. She signs on page 45. The court date is set for June 3rd. A Thursday. Elena takes the morning off work. Wears clothes that feel like costume. Drives downtown to a courthouse she's never been to. Jessica meets her in the lobby. It's a formality. The judge will ask a few questions. Confirm you understand the terms. Then it's done. How long? 15 minutes. Maybe less. They take the elevator to the 8th floor. Wait in a hallway with other people who look equally uncomfortable. A bailiff calls names. People disappear through doors and emerge minutes later looking unchanged. At 10:40, Elena's name is called. The courtroom is smaller than expected. Wood paneling. Fluorescent lights. A judge who looks tired and vaguely irritated. Mark is already there, sitting on the opposite side of the room with Michael. He glances at Elena. She doesn't meet his eyes. Morrison versus Morrison, the judge says, reading from a screen. I have the signed settlement agreement. Are both parties present? Yes, Your Honor, Jessica says. Yes, Your Honor, Michael echoes. The judge addresses Elena and Mark directly. You've both reviewed the terms of this settlement? Yes, they say simultaneously. You understand that this agreement is binding and enforceable? Yes. You're entering into it voluntarily, without coercion? Yes. The judge makes notes. Very well. I'm approving the settlement as submitted. The decree will be finalized and entered into record within 10 business days. You'll receive copies by mail. Any questions? Silence. Then we're adjourned. The bailiff calls the next case. Elena stands. Walks out. Doesn't look back. In the hallway, Jessica touches her arm. That's it. You're done. Elena nods. The decree will be official in 2 weeks. After that, you just need to execute the property division according to the timeline. Okay. How are you feeling? Elena considers the question. I don't know. Jessica gives her a sympathetic look that Elena doesn't want. Call me if you need anything. Elena drives back to Amy's house. Parks in the driveway. Sits in the car for 20 minutes. Inside, Amy is working from home. She looks up when Elena enters. How'd it go? It's done. Done. The judge signed it. It's over. Amy hugs her. Elena stands stiffly, arms at her sides, not sure how to receive comfort for something that doesn't feel like an ending. The decree arrives 12 days later. Large envelope. Official seal. Elena opens it at the kitchen table while Amy watches. She reads the first page. Legal language. Case number. Date of filing. Date of decree. Second page. Terms of settlement. Asset division. Timeline for execution. Third page. Signatures. The judge's signature. Her own. Marks. She sets it down. That's it. Amy says. That's it. How do you feel? I don't know. Empty. Tired. That's normal. Is it? Elena stares at the document. 14 years reduced to 47 pages of legal language. Every shared moment, every decision, every compromise distilled into clauses about property division and account closures. Her phone rings. Jessica, you got the decree? Yes. Good. Now we execute the settlement. The apartment listing goes up next week. Mark's attorney is handling that side. You'll need to coordinate with the realtor for showings. Okay. And you have 60 days to divide personal property. I recommend doing that sooner rather than later. I'll schedule something. After the call, Elena looks at her calendar. Empty days stretching forward. No court dates. No depositions. No deadlines except the ones for dismantling a life. The apartment showing is scheduled for a Saturday morning. Elena arrives at 9. Mark is already there, standing in the living room with the real estate agent. They haven't seen each other since the courthouse. Hi, Mark says. Hi. The agent fills the silence with professional chatter about market conditions and comparable sales. Elena doesn't listen. She walks through rooms cataloging what's hers, what's his, what neither of them wants. In the bedroom, she opens the closet. Half her clothes are still there. She pulls them out mechanically. Fills bags. Mark appears in the doorway. We should talk about the furniture. Okay. You want the couch? No. The table? No. What do you want? Elena looks around. The bookshelf. The lamp from the study. That painting your mother gave us. You hate that painting. I know. Mark doesn't argue. Okay. I'll have movers scheduled for next weekend. You can pick up whatever you want then. Fine. He lingers in the doorway. Elena. Don't. Please don't. He nods. Leaves. Elena finishes packing clothes. The agent calls her into the kitchen to discuss closing procedures. Elena signs forms. Provides contact information. Agrees to terms she doesn't fully process. By 11, she's done. She loads bags into her car and drives away without looking back. The apartment sells in 3 weeks. Over asking. Multiple offers. The closing is scheduled for July 20th. Elena doesn't attend. She signs a power of attorney allowing her lawyer to handle everything. Receives a check 2 weeks later for her share of the proceeds. The number is substantial. Life-changing, technically. But it sits in her account untouched while she continues living on Amy's couch. Work continues. Projects come and go. Rachel stops asking if she's okay. Her supervisor maintains professional distance. Everything operates normally around her while she exists in suspension. One evening, Amy sits down across from her at the kitchen table. You need to find a place, Amy says. I know. I'm not kicking you out. But you can't live on my couch forever. I know. So when? Soon. Define soon. Elena doesn't answer. That weekend, she looks at apartments online. Scrolls through listings without seeing them. Favorites a few. Contacts no one. Amy physically takes her phone and schedules viewings. The first apartment is too small. The second too expensive. The third smells like mildew. The fourth is acceptable. Neutral. Forgettable. Elena signs a lease. Moves in 2 weeks later with furniture she bought online and assembled poorly. The apartment is smaller than the one she left. Different layout. Different light. Different sounds from neighbors she hasn't met. She unpacks boxes. Hangs clothes. Arranges books on a shelf that isn't quite level. Sits on a couch that doesn't feel like hers in an apartment that doesn't feel like home. Her phone rings. Her mother. Amy says you moved. Yes. When were you going to tell me? Eventually. I'd like to see it. It's not ready. I don't care. I'm your mother. Her mother visits the following Sunday. Walks through the apartment with a critical eye that softens into something like concern. It's nice, she says, lying badly. It's temporary. Is it? Elena doesn't know. They have lunch. Her mother asks questions Elena deflects. Eventually, her mother stops asking. Before leaving, she hugs Elena at the door. You'll be okay, she says. Elena nods. Doesn't believe it. Doesn't disbelieve it either. 3 months after the decree is finalized, Elena receives a final email from Jessica. All financial obligations fulfilled. Asset division complete. No outstanding legal matters. Case closed. Best of luck with everything. Elena reads it twice. Archives it. Closes her laptop. That night, she sits in her apartment listening to sounds she hasn't learned to identify yet. Footsteps above. Traffic below. Pipes in the walls. She thinks about the decree sitting in a folder in her filing cabinet. The signatures. The seals. The bureaucratic finality of it all. Thinks about Mark somewhere across the city in an apartment she's never seen. Living a life she's no longer part of. Thinks about the 14 years that ended not with confrontation or catharsis, but with signatures on pages and checks in accounts, and belongings divided by mutual agreement. The whole thing resolved. Administratively. Officially. Completely. She waits for something to shift inside her. Relief. Grief. Anger. Anything. Nothing arrives. Just the hum of the refrigerator. The distant sound of sirens. The weight of a day that's ending like all the others. She gets ready for bed. Sets her alarm. Lies in the dark in a bedroom that still doesn't feel like hers. Eventually, she sleeps. And in the morning, everything continues. 6 months after the decree, Elena runs into Rachel at a coffee shop 3 blocks from her new apartment. Rachel is with someone Elena doesn't recognize. They're laughing about something. Rachel sees her. Waves. Elena waves back and orders her coffee to go. Wait. Rachel says, catching her at the door. I haven't seen you in forever. How are you? Fine. Good. You left Whitmore. In August. I'm freelancing now. That's great. Are you? Rachel pauses, recalibrating. Are you doing okay? With everything? Yeah, I'm fine. They stand in the doorway. Other customers navigate around them. Rachel's friend is watching from the table. I should go, Elena says. Right? Of course. But hey, we should get coffee sometime. Actual coffee, not just running into each other. Sure. Elena leaves. Doesn't save Rachel's number when the follow-up text arrives later that day. Work is different now. Freelance contracts. Project-based. No office. No colleagues. No meetings about nothing. Elena works from her apartment at a desk positioned by the window. She takes on projects she can complete alone. Writes reports no one questions. Sends invoices. Receives payments. The rhythm is manageable. Predictable. Empty in ways she doesn't examine too closely. Some mornings she wakes and forgets where she is. The light comes in wrong. The sounds are unfamiliar. Then she remembers. Adjusts. Continues. In October, Amy calls. Mom's birthday is next month. Are you coming to dinner? I don't know. That's what you said last year. And I didn't come. I know. That's why I'm asking now. Elena looks at her calendar. November 15th. No conflicts. No plans. Nothing scheduled except project deadlines she set arbitrarily. I'll try. Elena. I said I'll try. The conversation ends there. November 15th arrives. Elena spends the morning working. Finishes a report. Sends it to a client. Receives an automated acknowledgement. At 4, she gets in her car and drives toward her mother's house. Gets 3 blocks away. Pulls over. Sits in a parking lot for 20 minutes. Texts Amy. Can't make it. Something came up. Tell Mom I'm sorry. Amy responds immediately. What came up? Elena doesn't answer. She drives back to her apartment. Heats soup she doesn't finish. Works until midnight on a project that isn't due for another week. December brings the first snow. Elena watches it accumulate on her balcony through the window. Considers shoveling. Doesn't. A card arrives from Jessica Chun. Holiday greeting. Generic well wishes. A handwritten note at the bottom. Hope you're doing well. Elena sets it on the counter. Doesn't throw it away. Doesn't display it either. On Christmas Eve, her mother calls 3 times. Elena answers the 3rd call. Where are you? Her mother asks. Home. Alone. Yes. Come here. Amy's making dinner. I can't. Why not? Elena looks around her apartment. I just can't. Elena. I have to go. She ends the call. Turns off her phone. Spends Christmas watching television shows she won't remember and eating food that tastes like nothing. In January, a year after the recording, Elena receives a letter forwarded from her old address. The return address is unfamiliar. She opens it carefully. Inside is a single page. Handwritten. Elena, I don't know if you'll read this. I don't know if I should even send it. But I've been thinking about everything that happened, and I need to say some things. Not for you. Maybe for me. I don't know. I was wrong about a lot of things. How I handled it. The timing. The secrecy. I convinced myself I was being careful when I was really just being a coward. You deserved better than that. But I also think you were wrong. The way you went through my emails. The way you filed without talking to me. The way you froze me out completely. We both made choices that hurt each other. Maybe that's just what happens. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm not asking for anything. I just wanted you to know that I think about it sometimes. About what we had and what we didn't. About where things went wrong. I don't have answers. I'm not sure there are any. I hope you're okay. I hope you're happy. I hope. I don't know what I hope. Take care of yourself. Mark. Elena reads it twice. Folds it. Puts it back in the envelope. Sets it on her desk. Doesn't respond. 3 days later, she reads it again. Then a 3rd time. Then she files it in a drawer with the decree and other documents she doesn't look at. February. A client meeting downtown. Elena arrives early and walks past the building where the courthouse is. Doesn't stop. Doesn't slow down. Just notices it and continues walking. At a coffee shop, she sits across from a project manager who explains scope and timeline and budget constraints. Elena takes notes. Asks questions. Agrees to terms. You come highly recommended, the project manager says. Rachel Young spoke very highly of your work. Elena pauses. Rachel referred me? Yes. She said you were the best project manager she'd worked with. After the meeting, Elena pulls out her phone. Finds Rachel's unanswered text from November. Types, thank you for the referral. Rachel responds within minutes. Of course. How are you? Elena stares at the question. Types, fine. Deletes it. Types, getting by. Deletes that too. Types, same as always. Sends it. Rachel, We should actually get that coffee sometime. Elena, maybe. Rachel, I'll take that as a yes and follow up next week. Elena doesn't confirm or deny. March brings the anniversary of filing. Elena doesn't mark it consciously, but she wakes that morning aware of the date. She goes through her routine. Coffee, shower, work. The same movements in the same order she's performed for months. At lunch, she opens the drawer where she filed Mark's letter. Pulls it out. Reads it again. We both made choices that hurt each other. Maybe that's just what happens. She thinks about the recording, the folder, the emails, the notes about her not suspecting anything yet. Thinks about her own choices, the withdrawals, the consultations, the filing. Thinks about how neither version feels complete. How the truth probably lives somewhere between what happened and what they each remember happening. She refolds the letter, returns it to the drawer, goes back to work. In April, Amy shows up at her apartment unannounced. We need to talk, Amy says, walking in without invitation. About what? About this. Amy gestures around the apartment. About you living like this. Like what? Like you're waiting for something to start. Or waiting for something to end. I can't tell which. Elena sits on the couch. I'm fine. You keep saying that. You've been saying it for over a year. And I keep pretending to believe you because I don't know what else to do. What do you want me to say? I want you to say something real. Anything. I want you to be angry or sad or happy or something other than this. Nothing. Elena looks at her hands. They're folded in her lap. Steady. Unchanged. I don't know how to be anything else right now, she says. Amy sits beside her. That's the first honest thing you've said in months. They sit in silence. Outside, someone is moving furniture. Heavy objects dragged across floors. Voices directing placement. Do you ever think about him? Amy asks. Sometimes. What do you think? I don't know. I think about how it ended. How it was ending before either of us admitted it. How maybe it was never what I thought it was. Do you regret how you handled it? Elena considers. I regret that it happened. I don't know if I regret my choices. Would you do it differently? I don't know. Maybe. Probably not. Amy nods. That's honest too. Before leaving, Amy hugs her at the door. I love you. You know that, right? I know. Call me more. Visit. Be part of things. I'll try. Actually try? Not the version of trying where you don't actually do anything. Okay. After Amy leaves, Elena stands at the window. Watches cars navigate streets. People walking dogs. Life continuing in patterns that don't include her. She picks up her phone. Opens her calendar. Looks at the empty weeks stretching forward. Considers making plans. Scheduling things. Reaching out. Sets the phone down instead. May. Elena meets Rachel for coffee. Actual coffee this time. At a place Rachel suggests. They talk about work. Projects. Industry changes. Neutral topics that require no vulnerability. How are you really? Rachel asks eventually. I'm okay. That's what you always say. Because it's true. Rachel stirs her coffee. I got divorced 3 years ago. Before I started at Whitmore. It's why I moved to the city. Elena looks up. I didn't know that. I don't talk about it much. But I remember that first year after. How everything felt, suspended. Like I was waiting for my life to start again, but didn't know how to begin. Did it? Start again. Eventually. Not all at once. Just gradually. Small things. Then bigger things. Then one day I realized I wasn't waiting anymore. When did that happen? I'm not sure exactly. I just noticed one day that it had. They finish their coffee. Make vague plans to meet again. Elena doesn't know if she'll follow through. On the drive home, she thinks about Rachel's words. About waiting versus living. About the difference between the two. Wonders which one she's doing. Still can't decide. June. 1 year since the court date. Elena receives a notification that her divorce decree has been processed into the final records archive. Official closure in bureaucratic terms. She reads the notification. Files it digitally. Closes her laptop. That evening, she opens the drawer where Mark's letter lives. Pulls it out one more time. I hope you're okay. I hope you're happy. She thinks about responding. Has thought about it multiple times over the past months. Imagines what she might say. That she's fine. That she's not. That she doesn't know which is true. That she understands some of what he wrote. That other parts make her angry. That mostly she just feels tired. That she forgives him. That she doesn't. That forgiveness feels beside the point. She picks up a pen. Sets it down. Picks it up again. Writes nothing. Folds the letter. Returns it to the drawer. Closes the drawer. Late June. Elena is working at her desk when her phone rings. Unknown number. She almost doesn't answer. Elena Morrison? A woman's voice. Yes. This is Sarah Mitchell. I'm a realtor. I helped facilitate the sale of your property last year. Elena remembers vaguely. Okay. I'm calling because the buyers are doing renovations and found some items in a storage unit in the basement. Personal items. Boxes that might belong to you or your ex-husband. Would you like to collect them? What kind of items? I'm not sure exactly. Papers, books, some household things. The buyers want them removed by the end of the month. Elena thinks about that storage unit. Hasn't thought about it in over a year. Can barely remember what they put down there. I can pick them up, she says. The appointment is set for the following Saturday. Saturday morning. Elena drives to the old apartment building. Parks in a visitor spot. The building looks exactly the same. Different season. Same structure. Sarah meets her in the lobby. They take the elevator to the basement. Walk to a storage cage Elena recognizes from years of avoiding it. Inside are 4 boxes. Taped shut. Labeled in Mark's handwriting. Take your time, Sarah says. Lock the cage when you're done. Elena opens the first box. Old tax documents. Manuals for appliances they no longer own. A folder of wedding planning materials she didn't realize they'd kept. Second box. Books. Framed photos wrapped in newspaper. A clock that stopped working years ago. Third box. More papers. Bank statements from accounts that no longer exist. A folder labeled House Hunting 2019 containing printouts of properties they never bought. Fourth box. Random items. An old laptop charger. A set of keys. A coffee mug from a conference. A notebook. Elena pulls out the notebook. Opens it. Mark's handwriting fills the first few pages. Lists. Notes. Fragments of thoughts from years ago. One page catches her attention. Dated 3 years before they separated. Things to address. Communication problems. Different priorities. Growing apart? Need to talk to E about this. Keep putting it off. Don't know how to start. Elena reads it twice. Sits on the concrete floor of the storage cage with boxes around her. Thinks about all the conversations that never happened. All the moments when either of them could have said something. Chosen differently. Tried harder. Wonders if it would have mattered. Probably not. Maybe. She doesn't know. She closes the notebook. Returns it to the box. Carries all 4 boxes to her car one by one. Drives them to her apartment. Stacks them in the corner of her bedroom. Doesn't open them again. July. Elena is working when her mother calls. Your father and I are planning a trip, her mother says. We want you to come. Where? Does it matter? Elena almost smiles. When? September. A week in Vermont. Just family. I don't know. Don't say no yet. Just think about it. Okay. I'm going to keep asking until you say yes. I know. After the call, Elena looks at her calendar. September is 3 months away. Empty like all the other months. She doesn't commit. Doesn't decline either. Just leaves the question suspended. August. 1 year and 5 months since the recording. Elena finishes a major project. Receives payment. Sends a professional thank you email. Sits at her desk afterward with nothing urgent to do. Opens her filing cabinet. Pulls out the decree. The letter from Mark. The divorce paperwork. Reads through all of it. 1 page at a time. Methodically. Without emotion. When she finishes, she files everything back in the same order. Closes the drawer. Goes to the kitchen. Makes dinner. Eats half of it. Saves the rest. Watches television until her eyes hurt. Goes to bed. Lies in the dark listening to sounds she's learned to identify. The upstairs neighbor's footsteps. The couple next door arguing in a language she doesn't understand. Traffic below. Thinks about Mark somewhere in the city. Wonders if he's happy. If he's settled. If he thinks about what happened, or if he's moved on completely. Wonders which would be worse. Realizes she doesn't actually want to know. Closes her eyes. Sleeps fitfully. Wakes at 3. Can't fall back asleep. Gets up. Sits at her desk. Opens her laptop. Stares at a blank document for 20 minutes. Types, things I know. Deletes it. Types, what I understand now. Deletes that too. Types nothing. Closes the laptop. Returns to bed. Eventually, morning arrives. And with it, another day that looks exactly like the one before. And the one after that. And all the ones that follow. September. Elena's phone rings. Her mother. Did you book the ticket? Not yet. Elena. I'll do it today. You've said that before. I mean it this time. Do you? Elena looks out her window. The leaves are starting to change. Early autumn arriving unannounced. I'll think about it, she says. Her mother sighs. That's not the same as doing it. I know. After the call, Elena opens a travel website, looks at flights, rental cars, hotel options, leaves all the tabs open, doesn't book anything. That evening, she sits on her balcony as the sun sets. The air is cooler now, different quality of light. She thinks about the past year and a half, all the administrative processes, all the paperwork, all the formal closure. Thinks about how none of it actually ended anything, just reorganized it, redistributed it, filed it away in places she can ignore most days. Thinks about Mark's letter, the questions it raised, the apologies it offered, the ambiguity it left intact. Thinks about her own choices, the things she did and didn't do, the version of events she's told herself, how it changes slightly each time she reviews it. Thinks about what she preserved and what she lost, what she protected and what she quietly let go. Can't calculate the balance. Isn't sure there is one. Her phone buzzes. A text from Amy. Mom says you're thinking about Vermont. That's progress. Elena types, maybe. Amy, I'll believe it when I see the booking confirmation. Elena doesn't respond. She sits on the balcony until the streetlights come on, until the temperature drops, until the sounds of evening traffic fade into night sounds. Then she goes inside, closes the balcony door, locks it, moves forward into another evening that doesn't resolve anything. Another night that promises nothing. Just the hum of the refrigerator, the distant sound of sirens, the weight of questions that remain unanswered, and somewhere beneath it all, the quiet awareness that this, all of this, is what her life looks like now. Not better, not worse, just different. Altered in ways she's still learning to navigate. Settled in ways that don't feel like settlement. And that, for now, is all she knows.